One of my favorite pastimes is going down wrestling rabbit holes. Oftentimes, I come across matches and shows I've never seen. And that's how I stumbled across a show from 1995, the Stu Hart 80th Birthday Tribute Show. It's full of fun mid 90s wrestling shenanigans at the birth of the Monday Night Wars. Let's take a look. We're all familiar with Stu Hart and the Hart family. If you're not, here's a quick recap. Stu began wrestling professionally in 1945. He was considered one of the toughest men in wrestling. He even wrestled a bear a few times. He made the rounds of the territories very briefly because in the early 1950s, he and his wife Helen would settle in Calgary, Canada, and start Stampede Wrestling. Stampede was the gem of Calgary sports for decades. Many recognizable names were either trained by Stu or spent some time in Stampede. While running Stampede, Stu and Helen also had 11 children. All the boys became wrestlers, and all the girls married wrestlers, creating what may be the greatest wrestling dynasty in the history of the business. But in 1984, Stu sold his territory to Vince McMahon, ending a 30-year legacy of a Calgary institution. So in 1995, to celebrate Stu's 80th birthday and commemorate his 50 years of contributions in the wrestling business, the Hart family put on a show, featuring stars from WWF, WCW, ECW, and Stampede's past. Showdown at the Corral starts off with the traditional Stampede TV intro, along with a montage of pre-show happenings. They also intersperse some comments from some of the wrestlers, all saying very nice things about Stu. Other testimonials would also be spliced in throughout the rest of the show. We're also introduced to my new favorite commentator, Ed Whalen, the master of disaster. There were 3 matches cut from the televised version, so we start off with the WWF's Rad Radford versus new WCW signee Chris Benoit. The match, unsurprisingly, was pretty good, as Benoit was at probably his most athletic at the time, and Louis Spicolli at this point in 95 could still go. And of course, the former Stampede talent, Benoit, would get the win here. Next is the first of the Hart kids, Keith Hart, in his 1993 Survivor Series singlet, Sans Mustache, versus heel 1-2-3 Kid. To be completely honest, this match is not the shits. They don't do much, and Keith gets a huge reaction just working the knee of the 1-2-3 Kid throughout this match. He does end up taking this bump to the outside, however, and it's pretty cool. 1-2-3 Kid goes for one too many high-risk maneuvers, ends up eating empty canvas, but is able to roll up Keith. 1-2-3, sneaky WWF heel gets the win. Following that matchup, it's time for the runt of the Hart litter, the baby of the family, Owen Hart, as he's going to be challenging for the WWF Intercontinental Championship against Razor Ramon. Watching this match really did remind me of the Intercontinental Championship house show matches from the time, where not a whole lot happened, just the heel getting the advantage early on, beating down the babyface champion 90% of the match, and then eventually the babyface champion sneaking out a win at the last second. Even though it was simplistic, Razor and Owen's chemistry here, as always, made it just a bit more enjoyable than it would have been otherwise. This next one is gonna get wild as ECW's Terry Funk and his brother Dory Funk Jr. take on the reunited Bad Company, Bruce Hart, and WCW's Brian Pillman. This match is filled with nothing but old school wrestling spots, and Terry Funk bumping like a boss. Like, look at this beautiful pendulum spot in the ropes. It's too ridiculous not to love it. And then there's nut shots, and then of course, because it's Terry Funk in the mid-90s, they go to the outside. Terry Funk steals Ed Whalen's table and tosses Pillman into it, doesn't break. So he tries a suplex and the table bends, doesn't really break. The Funks get Pillman back into the ring for a double suplex where Bruce gets in the way. And then Bruce and Dory get their turn on the outside where they throw haymakers and chops at one another. Mr. Explosion himself, Bruce Hart, comes off the top with a splash onto Dory, and then we get the DQ finish from Terry Funk with a chair. While the action in this match delivered, it was the commentary that really won me over at the end. But I'll let the work of Mr. Whalen speak for itself.
Look out! Here comes Mr. Explosion! He's grabbed the table. He's going to wham him with a table. Be careful. Terry Funk is a wing-a-ding-dong.
Prior to the main event, there was an in-ring tribute to Stu featuring memories and matches throughout his career, like this one with Abdullah the Butcher, his interactions with boxing legends like Muhammad Ali, and that time he wrestled a Bengal tiger. It was a really cool tribute to Stu. Very nice. Main event time as the British Bulldog challenges for the WWF Championship against his brother-in-law, Bret the Hitman Hart. They both get these really cool motorcycle entrances. I don't know if it's a Calgary thing, but it was pretty cool. Bret is, of course, Calgary's favorite son. He goes through his whole pre-match ritual, and who does he give his glasses to but his dad on his special day? And oh my god, it's a smile. Stu Hart smiled. And why shouldn't he be smiling? It's Bret versus Bulldog. You know that this match is good. Maybe not as good as their In Your House match, maybe not as good as SummerSlam 92, but it's a really, really good match. And it's filled with all of their trademarks. Delayed suplex by Bulldog, denied Bret's rope elbow, a Bret's rope suplex, an absolutely gorgeous and safe pile driver from Bret. There's this very cool spot where Bret uses momentum to reverse a power slam into a pin. A denied sharpshooter attempt leads into their pinfall exchange. And 1, 2, 3, Bret Hart retains the WWF World Championship. Bret celebrates with the championship. Ed Whalen takes us home. And that's the Stu Hart 50th anniversary, 80th birthday tribute show. Overall, it's a really fun hour of wrestling, and like I said before, it's a really great time capsule for the wrestling scene of 1995. I recommend you track it down and give it a watch. It's out there online. I'm Scott from Retrospective. Thanks for watching.